Anyway, I'm Rich, N4DPM, and I'm going to be talking about as Ron was saying, the capabilities of the station. It's not intended to be an instructional presentation, merely a familiarization for new members who may not fully know the capabilities of it, and for some of the old heads who may have just forgotten. But N4CU and I went out to the station about 2 weeks ago. I took a bunch of pictures, and I intended it to be a sort of a second grade level stuff in some spots and graduate degree stuff in others. So I tried to blend it together to cover everybody. Okay, next slide. Okay, like I say, I'm going to go to the lower right. There's a little, it looks like a screen. There you go. Anyway, I'm going to talk about the station itself, as I mentioned, the antennas that describe each station, pretty much how to operate it. Then I'm going to summarize and take questions. The next slide, please. Okay, those are the antennas. On the top of the tower, you'll see a beam antenna with, on the very top is a 6 meter, and which doesn't show very well. There's a 40 meter rotatable dipole that's up there as well. Again, it looked better when I was putting these together than it does now, but it's there. Next slide, please. Question.
Is the 40 meter rotatable dipole new, or has that been up there all along?
It's been up there all along, as far as I know. It was up there 2 weeks ago. Let me put it that way.
Well, that's all along. Anyways, okay. Yes. What do I need to do?
Okay, and then continuing. Question? Okay. The other antennas that didn't photograph very well, there's a dual band VHF, UHF vertical right next to the tower. And then there's a 60 meter dipole that's fed with ladder line, which of course means it'll work on higher frequencies than 60. Next slide. Okay, when you get to the station, assuming you just you're the first one to have the keys, you have to use the combination lock on the left. That's why I point that out. The door on the right is a key lock, and we don't have keys to that I'm aware of. So we have to use the combination. And no, I'm not going to tell you what it is. Next slide. Okay, as you go in the door, there's the club library. There's a sign-out sheet that was in the upper shelf. It's a pretty good collection. Some of the things you can go and cruise down memory lane if you want. There's some old ARRL handbooks in there. Okay, next slide. Okay, there's the station itself. On the left is station 1, and on the right is station 2, logically. And again, if you just got the station keys for the first time, you'll have 2 sets of keys. One key opens all 4 padlocks, and then another key opens a door that's not very well shown in the photograph, but it's in the middle there. Next slide, please. Okay, as I mentioned, this is not intended to be an instructional presentation, but at the station, in one of the 2 positions, there's an ICOM handbook, which I believe Ron recommended quite some time ago. I have it because I have the ICOM 7300, and it's great. It's a lot easier to understand the basic functions of the rig without diving into ICOM's. Even ICOM's mini manual tends to, in my mind, and it would be written for a double E, which I'm not. So, and then station 2, you'll see the yellow sheet. Those are the hookup and the connect and disconnect instructions. Somebody wrote those, and they're very thorough. I did take a close-up of it, but of course it didn't come out. Next slide. Okay, anyway, while he's doing that, what's in common to both stations? That's station 1, as I said. That's the one that's connected to the beam, as you can tell by the rotor control. And then there's the power supplies to the left. And on the bottom shelf, there's the rig itself. And then to the left of the rig, you can barely see it, is a laptop. The rig and laptop are common to both stations. And they do have, the laptop is also password protected. And it also uses once it all hooks up, you can use the N1MM Plus to log and control the radio. Again, that's in common to both positions. Let's see, on top of the rotor control box is a SWR bridge. So you can get a good match that way. My experience about 3 months ago was that the internal tuner on the Icon will do the beam and the rotatable dipole without too much fuss, at least at the low ends of the band. I didn't try it on phone. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, I bring this up for a very good reason. That is on the right. That is Live Oak Baptist Church stuff, and we're not to touch it. As you go about unplugging things at the end of your operating day, leave that thing alone. It goes to their, Bob told me what it was, and he's not here tonight, but we leave it alone is the bottom line. And on the left, for us older guys, is the bathroom key. And it's very hard to put that in your pocket. Next slide. Okay, behind station one, position one, I should say, as I can't read what that says. Ah, yes, the surge protector. There's one of those at each station. As you can tell, they're unplugged. I did not plug anything in when I took these photographs on purpose. I wanted to make sure everybody understood that when you go to the station, you have to plug everything in. And then, of course, unplug it when you leave. Next slide. Okay, that is station 2. As I mentioned, that is connected to the dipole fed with ladder line. And of course, on the bottom shelf, there's the rig, the 7300. And to the right of it, I believe is it looks like, yeah, it's a laptop. And above that is the 2 meter, 70 centimeter rig. Continuing on to the left is the SWR antenna tuner, followed by the power supply on the left. Also, there's for the CW fans, there's a dual lever paddle in there, and there's a straight key. It shifts between stations, so it's wherever you find it. And again, that yellow 7300 book gives easy to read instructions on how to hook all the stuff up to the radio. Let's see what else. Any questions so far? Yes. Yeah, there's a laptop at each position, is what I was trying to convey.
Some of the passwords to those laptops are.
Yeah.
Separate power supply for each station.
That's what I said. So, yeah, each station's independent. You don't have to operate. You don't have to change parts to go between stations. Okay, next slide. Okay, in summary, the instructions are under the station 2 to hook it up. The 7300 manual I've already said is a good manual to look at, and it's easy to understand. Each station has 7300s. I told you about the beam and the dipole being at station 1 and 2 respectively. And and because of it, this is a church that the station is not available on Sundays because they do church activities there. So your best bet is weekdays and Saturdays. And to emphasize again, you need to unplug everything before you go. For the new people in the audience, we had a lightning strike last year, or pretty much a year ago, that took all of our equipment away. So we're very conscious of lightning. And let's see. Yeah.
So is there a power strip for each side? You just plug one power strip into the
One for each station.
station?
Yeah. Like I say, each station's independently operated, can be independently operated.
Yeah. We go into the surge suppressors, and there's one on each side.
Yeah.
That's a light switch for light.
Yeah. There is a light switch. Yeah.
Do you disconnect that and go to the lightning storm?
Yeah.
Okay.
If I'm at the station, yes.
You're at the station.
Yeah.
When you leave, it's connected.
No, I unplug them for a lightning storm. And then if they're not already unplugged when I leave, I unplug them. In other words, when I walk out the door, I'm done for the day. They're unplugged. And yes, the whole station's unplugged before I leave. Yeah. Yeah. Sir.
Rich's logging strictly electronics, is he making a paper log as well?
There are sheets of paper over there where you can maintain a paper log. Like I said, each laptop has N1MM on it, the logging software. What I do when I go over there, like I did on field day, DJ provided some printouts. You can handwrite the log, in other words. And when I go over to the station, I use N1MM, but I operate in the classic mode. Let me answer your question the long way. I don't use the fish finder and I don't use the computer to control the radio. Okay. So my only concession to the 21st century is spotting networks and N1MM. So when I go over to the station here, I bring a piece of paper and fill it out by hand. Oh, general purpose logging. Oh, good point. No, N1MM is not for rag chewing. It's for contesting. I do not know. Ron.
We've almost got the battle fought with the ham radio deluxe piece. Our license, I'm missing that in the ham radio deluxe people are fighting back and forth with fights long running, but trying to make sure they don't confuse what we're doing here with my personal copies at home. And I'm hoping to get one of them on the phone rather than do emails, because there could be 30 good ways to take what I've written. They will make sure to take that one bad way, so cause confusion. So we are nearly to 8 ham radio deluxe. We also have another program on there for rig control called Win for Icon. I've had great luck with that in the past, and frankly, when we get ham radio deluxe on there, I found Win for Icon to be a better option for controlling the rig when using the rest of the suite, the virtual logging, digital, and so not as applicable here. It's applicable for you at home, the satellite tracking as well. Win for Icon, WIN, the number 4 icon. You got it. It doesn't crap out like the HRD grid control does from time to time. I've had some real problems with HRD grid control portion with working with other programs on my personal icons at home. Well, mine's 7610, but
see, I had a lot of problems with how fixing. She told me to fix it.
So that's what's still coming. The Win for Icon was a $60 one-time piece. The club the club will never have to pay for that. That was a donation. The ham radio deluxe, once we get it the first time, we will have to consider if we want to yearly update it on a regular basis. That's up to the side.
I have a question, W6VVA.
In the past, it was 50%, so like $50 or less if you found it.
Just a minute.
Not one of their specials, but yeah, it does cost everything.
Okay, W6VVA has a question.
Yeah, I have a question about the stations. Anybody using a duplexer?
Not right now.
No. Can you hear Ron?
We haven't brought additional radios in to work that.
I can't hear.
Okay, no, they're not using a duplexer at this time. They don't have additional radios to meet it.
Okay.
It's an important capability to have those, no doubt.
Each station, I believe, still has a half-inch binder with sheet notes in there. So, if you need to know the spread of your bands, general, et cetera, plus there's, I forgot what's in there, but there's a number of sheets to help you through. I know that my station at home, I'm hopeless without my notes, and so I try to duplicate those.
Yeah, could you guys on Zoom here, Rob?
No,
No, okay, what Rob said was at each station, there's a 3-ring binder that shows it shows the results of an antenna tuning session, so you know which frequencies to go to and what tuner settings to use. Like I said, each station has that, plus some other notes that are helpful. Any other questions, comments? It's all right. Yes, the one at Station 2 is a manual. Yeah, the 7300 has built-in tuners, but it's limited to 3-to-1 or less.
So the internet collapse are disconnected to the radio in all cases. And
Whenever you leave,
you have a place to literally put that coaxial connector
on the shelf. There's no dedicated place. I'm not trying to be a smartass with you. There's no dedicated SO239 to connect them to a dead SO239. It's just they're just there.
I actually have a shorted SO239
Yeah,
that goes right to ground, so that's how I can.
yeah.
question. W6VVA.
Yeah, go ahead.
BVA has a question.
Yeah, I can't hear anybody. I hear you, but I don't hear anybody else.
Okay, I will try to relay questions. DJ brought up we're talking about what happens. Is there any kind of provision to connect the coax other than at the rig or the equipment? And he brought up that at home he has a shorted SO239 that he uses, and DJ thought it might be an idea to us to try that at the station. But at the moment, you just put the coax on the shelf or on the floor away from the equipment.
I have a shorting bar that I built that works quite well. That you disconnect all the antennas with a quick disconnect fitting. You can get them, and you plug them into the shorting bar when you leave. All the antennas are grounded out and they're off of the equipment. And when you unplug the equipment, make sure that you disconnect the ground wire. If you got ground system there, float everything.
Okay.
The ground will not protect you on a direct strike. It'll take everything. The only way I protect my station, and I haven't had any problems with my station for many years, is I float everything.
Huh. Okay.
You said disconnect the ground wire? Ask for clarification. What's the disconnect the ground wire from what?
From the equipment.
From the radios.
From the radio equipment?
Yeah, that's what he said.
That makes everything.
We said float the ground. For us non-technical types, what does float the ground mean?
Okay, you have a grounding bar and all your equipment is grounded, correct?
Correct.
Okay, what I have is a knife switch. And when I disconnect it, and during a lightning storm,
Uh-oh.
quick slide on connections, they're moved to a grounding bar. Okay, the grounding bar, then the equipment is disconnected electrically from the AC lines.
Okay.
The grounding lines, the leads, everything is hooked up to a common ground. The ground is also broken. So all the equipment in the shack is floating.
Oh, okay. It's neither plugged into AC or to a ground.
Right. The ground, if you get a lightning strike, the power will come in on the ground and wipe the radio out.
Okay.
So I think what he's talking about.
We don't have good enough grounds out here. The soil is terrible. So if you float your station, you're going to have less problems with lightning.
Okay.
I think he's saying you want the third prong from the plug disconnected from the house ground. But what about the ground that goes through ground out outside your station?
That disconnected too.
Disconnected too. The equipment just like it was put in a box.
Correct. It's
Yeah.
all floating. It's not hooked up to anything.
Just like it was in the box the day you got it.
Cool. I never thought of it that way.
So can you put a blade switch?
Lightning will come through your ground system and wipe you out.
Oh, no doubt. I just never thought of unhooking the ground as well. I just throw my coax out the window, but
On the station grounding report
yeah.
on w4aac.org, if you go into the documents section, and we have the station grounding report under news, right?
Yeah.
You probably say where it's at, whether or not go home, because I don't have it in front of me. KO4FK, Joe Hughes,
Yeah.
wrote a very good report on the station grounding and bonding and what needs to happen. He's working up a cost proposal to bring to the next couple of business meetings, so we can discuss it, so we can improve the club,
Okay.
the clubhouse. We have permission from the church to modify out there what we need to do in order to protect our club.
Okay. Are you catching all that? Is it Bob, is it?
Bob's on the air here.
Yeah. You
No,
catching all that stuff?
I'm here, but I'm not, you're gonna have to relay. I'm not hearing much.
Okay. I want to butcher at what DJ said, but I'll give it a shot. FNK did a report / cost estimate for the club on the grounding requirements.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna let DJ.
AW6BBA KF4CER. So KO4F&K on our webpage wrote up a very good Word document report that talks about station bonding and grounding and what needs to happen out there. It's on our website, w4az.org. Take a look at that. It's underneath the news section or events, one of the two. Anyway, it's on one. It's there. So it's a very good report. It reads very well. It flows perfectly. It tells you everything that's wrong with the station and what we need to do to improve. He's actually got a personal copy of it at home, and what he's doing right now is tallying up what the cost is going to be to fix the station grounding, so that we can end this 2.5, 3 year lightning strike layover and go pursue forward. So we can.
Okay, that's a recommendation for what you should do for the station, for the club station, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll take a look at it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, do you want to hear from the station manager now or not? You want to hear from me or not? Okay, here's the deal. We have understood the grounding concepts. And Ron and I went over the grounding concepts versus the time it takes to reground it. Now we can take everything in the shack and wrap it up in aluminum foils and put it on a shelf, and that would provide good grounding. But what we have is we have the surge protectors at each ground outlet, and we have disconnected the antennas from it. Now I realize that leaves the grounds from the radios to the ground connector, and that there are certain weaknesses in any system you come up with. But the problem is going into the station and hooking it up used to take half an hour when we disconnected all the grounds, as people have been talking about just a minute ago. But leaving the surge protectors to protect the internal equipment from a surge in the shack, that is where we feel that we got a lightning strike damage, because that was a surge, and we felt that the surge affected the power line equipment, and then all the antennas and everything was disconnected. The surge did an induced strike to the ground, the power line wires that go to the computers and everything, and to the radios. And most of the damage was from the surge. The surge is the big problem in there. And we have talked about getting a proper surge protection there, and we have never done it. Now, with what Joe is going to do is going to write this down and turn up the cost. The cost will be very expensive to properly ground everything. I estimated at one time it would be between $1,000 and $1,500.
No.
We tried. Yeah, Bob, you say that, but I have $1,000 worth of copper out there, and I've never had any damage because I put copper tape 36 feet from each tower leg and from my house out, and I had to hire people to come in and dig trenches for that copper. So I know what it takes. It is copper, and you can't shake your head and tell that copper is cheap. It's not. And that's what, I'm done talking about it. let, FNK, let Joe make his recommendations and we pick it up and pay for the difference that we'll take to add that, because it's gonna cost $6 a month for the church.
Can we table this for another night? That's the end of the presentation. Thanks very much for your attention.